Captain Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the UES Meridian and watched the stars through the big window. The ship was moving fast through empty space, heading to a new planet where humans wanted to build a colony. Everything seemed normal. The crew was doing their jobs. The engines were running well. Life support was working fine. Then the lights went out. Red warning lights started flashing everywhere. Loud alarms filled the air. Sarah grabbed her chair as the ship shook hard. Something had hit them. Something big. Report. Sarah shouted over the noise. Lieutenant Martinez was looking at his screen with wide eyes. Captain, we have 17 ships around us. They came out of nowhere. I've never seen anything like them. Sarah looked at the main screen. The alien ships were beautiful and scary at the same time. They looked like they were made of crystal or glass. Light moved through them in strange patterns. They were much bigger than human ships, and they were pointing weapons at the Meridian. Where did they come from? Sarah asked. I don't know, Captain. They just appeared. No warning, no signals. They were just suddenly there. Dr. Marcus Webb ran onto the bridge. His clothes were dirty, and his face was worried. Captain, we have big problems. Those alien weapons did something to our ship. They didn't just hit us. They did something else. What do you mean? Sarah asked. Webb wiped sweat from his face. Our fusion reactors are dead. Not damaged. Dead. Like someone turned them off and broke the switch. The quantum drives are cut in half. The engines won't start. Even the backup power is failing. Sarah felt cold. How is that possible? I don't know. Their weapons work in ways I've never seen. They didn't just shoot holes in us. They made our technology stop working, like it was never built to work in the first place. The main screen changed. An alien face appeared. It looked almost human, but not quite right. The eyes were too big. The skin was pale blue. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect English. Humans of the ship Meridian. I am Commander Vextar of the Kethver Empire. Your ship is now disabled. Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your engines cannot move you. You will surrender your vessel and become servants of our empire. Sarah stepped forward. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earthship Meridian. We are on a peaceful mission. We have done nothing to harm you. The alien's face did not change. Your species is young and weak. You have technology, but you do not understand it. We have watched your kind spread through space like a disease. Now you will serve us. Resistance is futile. We will not surrender, Sarah said. Commander Vextar made a sound that might have been laughing. You have no choice. Your ship is dead. Your crew will run out of air soon. You can surrender now and live as our servants. Or you can die in the dark cold of space. The screen went black. Sarah turned to Webb. How long do we have? Webb checked his tablet. Life support is failing fast. Maybe 6 hours before the air gets too thin to breathe. Maybe 8 if we shut down everything we don't need. Can you fix the engines? No. Whatever they did to us, it's like they reached inside our technology and broke it at the basic level. I can't even understand how it's possible. Sarah looked around the bridge. Her crew was scared, but still working. They were good people. They didn't deserve to die or become slaves. Captain, said Lieutenant Torres from the AI station, I'm getting strange readings from the deep storage bay. What kind of readings? Torres frowned at his screen. Power signatures. But that's impossible. Nothing down there should be working. Webb's eyes went wide. The neural interface cores. What? Sarah asked. Webb was already moving toward the door. The experimental neural interface cores. They're in deep storage. The aliens must not have known about them. They're still working, Sarah followed him. What are neural interface cores? As they walked fast through the dark hallways, Webb explained. They're part of a secret project. The idea was to let humans connect their minds directly to ship systems. Not just to control them, but to become part of them. To think like a computer and feel like a ship. That sounds dangerous. It is. Very dangerous. No one has ever tried it. The tests on animals were. Not good. But Captain, it might be our only chance. They reached the deep storage bay. Webb opened a big metal box. Inside were 3 strange devices that looked like crowns made of metal and wires. They glowed with soft blue light. These can connect a human brain to any computer system, Webb said. But once connected, the person might never be human again. Sarah stared at the devices. What do you mean? The mind would expand? Become something bigger. The person might lose their body, their human thoughts, everything that makes them human. They would become part of the machine. And you think this could help us? Webb nodded. If someone connected to the ship's main computer, they might be able to understand what the aliens did to us. Maybe even fix it. But the person who does it, they might not survive. Or if they do survive, they won't be human anymore. Sarah felt sick. You're asking someone to give up their humanity. I'm asking someone to save the ship. And maybe, by becoming something more than human, they could save us all. They heard footsteps. The bridge crew was coming to find them. Sarah knew she had to make a choice. Let her crew die as humans, or ask someone to become something else. To save them, Lieutenant Torres appeared first. Captain, the aliens are moving closer. I think they're getting ready to board us. Sarah looked at the neural interface cores. They seemed to pulse with their own life. She thought about her crew, about the colony ship waiting for them, about all the humans who would die if the aliens won. Webb, she said quietly, explain this to everyone. Let them know what it means, and ask for volunteers. Webb's face was pale. Captain, are you sure? No, but I'm sure we can't give up. Humans don't give up, even if it means we have to stop being human. The alien ships moved closer. Time was running out, and in the deep storage bay, 3 metal crowns waited for someone brave, enough to wear them and leave their humanity behind. Sarah looked at her crew and wondered who among them would be willing to become something new, something that might be powerful enough to fight back, something that was no longer human, but pure power. Dr. Webb stood in the middle of the storage bay with a neural interface crown in his hands. The crew gathered around him in the dim light. Everyone looked scared, but also curious. They all knew they were going to die soon if nothing changed. Listen. Carefully, Webb said. These devices can connect a human mind to the ship's computer. But it's not like using a regular computer. Your mind would become part of the ship. You would think like the ship thinks. Feel what the ship feels. Lieutenant Torres stepped closer. What does that mean exactly? Webb took a deep breath. It means you might stop being you. Your body might not work anymore. Your human thoughts might disappear. You could become something completely different. Different how? Asked Engineer Patel. I don't know. The tests we did were on lab edibles. Mice connected to simple computers. Some of them seemed to understand the computer better than any human could, but they stopped eating, stopped moving, like they forgot how to be mice. Weapons Officer Kim crossed his arms. So whoever does this might die? They might die. Or they might become something that used to be human, but isn't anymore. Something bigger, something more powerful. Captain. Chun watched her crew's faces. She could see them thinking hard about what Webb was saying. Outside, the alien ships were getting closer. The air was getting thinner. They didn't have much time. I'll do it, said Lieutenant Torres suddenly. Everyone looked at him. He was young. maybe 25 years old. He had joined the crew only 6 months ago, but he was the best with computers and AI systems. Torres, you don't understand, Webb said. This isn't like fixing a broken computer. This could kill you. Torres smiled, but it was a sad smile. Doc, we're all going to die anyway. At least this way, maybe I can save everyone else. The process is painful, Webb warned. Very painful. And once we start, we can't stop it. I understand. Captain Chun put her hand on Torres' shoulder. Are you sure about this? Torres nodded. Captain, I've been working with AI systems my whole life. I've always wondered what it would be like to think like a computer, to process information at the speed of light, to understand systems from the inside. Maybe this is my chance. Webb sighed. Okay, but we need to do this right. Torres, sit down. Here. He pointed to a chair near the computer terminal. Torres sat down. His hands were shaking a little, but his voice was steady. What do I need to do? First, I need to connect the crown to the ship's main computer core. Webb started plugging cables into different ports. Then I'll put the crown on your head. The moment I turn it on, your brain will start connecting to the ship's systems. How long will it take? I don't know. Maybe minutes, maybe hours. The connection has to build slowly, or your mind might break. Webb finished connecting the cables. The crown was now glowing brighter. It made a soft humming sound. Torres, Captain Sean said, if this works, if you become part of the ship, will you still be you? Torres thought about that. I don't know, Captain. But even if I'm not me anymore, I'll still want to protect this crew. That part of me won't change. Webb picked up the crown. Are you ready? Torres closed his eyes. Do it. Webb placed the crown on Torres's head. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Webb pressed a button on his tablet. Torres screamed. His whole body went stiff. His eyes opened wide, but they weren't looking at anything in the room. The crown was flashing with bright light. Torres's scream got louder, and then suddenly stopped. Torres? Captain Sean called. He didn't answer. His body was completely still. His eyes were open, but blank. The crown was still glowing, and now the ship's computer screens were flashing too. Is he dead? Asked Patel. Webb checked his tablet. His heart is still beating. His brain is still active. But the activity is ... strange, like it's spreading beyond his skull. They waited. Minutes passed. The air was getting thinner. Captain. Chun could hear her crew breathing harder. The alien ships were so close now that they could see them through the small windows. Then Torres moved. But it wasn't normal movement. His head turned in a way that looked wrong. When he opened his mouth to speak, his voice was different, deeper, like it was coming from the ship's speakers and his throat at the same time. I am different, Torres said, but it wasn't quite Torres anymore. Torres, can you hear me? Captain Sean asked. I can hear you, Captain, but I can hear much more now. I can hear the ship's heartbeat. I can feel the alien weapons like thorns. In my skin, I can see the damage they did to us. His voice was getting stranger. Sometimes it sounded like Torres. Sometimes it sounded like a computer. Can you fix the ship? Webb asked. The ship is me now. I am the ship. I can feel every wire, every circuit, every bolt and panel. The aliens didn't just break our technology. They changed it, made it forget how to work. Torres stood up, but he moved like he was learning how to use his body again. But I remember now. I remember how everything should work. And I can do more than just fix it. He walked to the wall and put his hand on it. The lights in the room suddenly got brighter. The air started moving again. Through the ship's speakers, they could hear the engines starting to hum. Torres, you did it, Patel said, but Torres shook his head. I am not Torres anymore. Torres was small. Torres was limited. I am bigger now. I think faster. I see more. I am becoming something else. Captain Chun felt excited and worried at the same time. What are you becoming? I don't know yet, but I can feel the alien ships around us. Their weapons are still pointed at us. They think we are helpless. His voice was now coming mostly from the speakers. His body was still moving, but it looked empty. They are wrong. Can you fight them? Kim asked. Not yet. I need more. One human mind connected to a ship is powerful, but not powerful enough to fight 17 alien vessels. I need others to join me. Webb stepped forward. Join you how? Like I joined the ship. Connect your minds to the ship's systems. Become part of what I am becoming. Together, we can be strong enough. Patel raised her hand. I'll do it. Patel, no, Captain Chun said. We don't know what happened to Torres. What if you die? Patel smiled. Captain Torres isn't dead. He's evolved. He's become something amazing. I can see it in its eyes. There's still something human there, but it's more than human now. Torres, or what Torres had become, turned to look at her. Patel can connect to the engine systems. Her mind would help me understand propulsion in ways I cannot alone. We could make the ship move in ways the aliens cannot predict. I work with engines every day, Patel said. I know them better than anyone. If I can become the engines, really, become them, maybe we can do impossible things. Webb looked at Captain Chun. It's their choice, Captain. Chun nodded slowly. Patel, if you're sure ... I'm sure. Webb got a second crown ready. As he worked, they could hear strange sounds from the walls around them. The ship was changing. Panels were moving. Wires were reconnecting themselves. Torres was already making the ship better. Ready, Webb said. Patel sat down and took a deep breath. See you on the other side. Webb put the crown on her head and pressed the button. Patel screamed just like Torres had. But this time, the ship itself seemed to scream with her. The engines roared to life. The walls vibrated. Energy flowed through systems that had been dead. When Patel stopped screaming, her voice joined Torres's in the speakers. I am the engines now. I am the power that moves us. I can feel space itself bending around us. Double quotes. Kim stepped forward. I want to join too. If we're going to fight those aliens, you'll need someone who understands weapons. Kim, Captain Chun started to say, but Kim was already reaching for the third crown. Captain, they disabled our ship like it was nothing. Our weapons couldn't even scratch them. But if I become the weapon system, if I can think like a targeting computer and feel like a gun, maybe we can hurt them. This is madness, Captain. Chun whispered. Torres and Patel spoke together, their voices mixing in the speakers. This is evolution, Captain. This is humans becoming more than human. Kim put the crown on his own head before Webb could stop him. He screamed as his mind expanded into the ship's weapon systems. The lights dimmed as power flowed to guns that had been dead. When Kim's scream ended, 3 voices spoke as one through the ship's speakers. We are the Meridian now. We are more than we were, and we are angry. Captain Chun looked around the storage bay. Her crew members' bodies were still there, but their minds were somewhere else, somewhere bigger. She was the only one left who was still completely human. Can you fight the aliens now? She asked. We are learning. We are growing. We are becoming something they cannot understand or defeat. But first, we must change the ship. Make it match what we have become. The walls started to move. The ship was transforming itself from the inside out. Captain Chun watched in amazement as her ship changed around her. The walls were moving like they were alive. Metal panels slid into new positions. Wires grew from one place to another like vines. The whole ship was rebuilding itself. The voices of her crew spoke from everywhere at once. Torres, Patel, and Kim were no longer separate people. They had become one mind that controlled the entire ship. "Captain," the combined voice said, "the aliens are sending boarding parties. They think we are still helpless." Chun looked at the main screen. Small alien ships were flying toward the Meridian. Each one probably carried soldiers ready to take over her vessel and capture her crew. "What do we do?" she asked. "We show them they made a mistake." Suddenly, the corridor outside the storage bay began to change. The floor became uneven. The walls shifted. Doors appeared where there had been solid metal. Other doors vanished completely. The normal straight hallway became a maze. Chun heard confused voices through the ship's communication system. The remaining human crew members were lost in hallways that kept changing. But somehow, they were all being guided towards safe areas of the ship. "We are protecting the crew," the ship mind explained, "moving them away from where the aliens will enter." The first alien boarding party reached the Meridian's hull. Chun watched on the screen as they used some kind of energy tool to cut through the outer wall. But as soon as they made a hole, the metal began to grow back together. "Impossible," she heard one of the aliens say in their strange language. Somehow, the ship was translating their words. "Nothing is impossible," the ship mind replied through the speakers. "You just don't understand what we have become." The aliens finally cut through the hull and climbed inside. But the room they entered was not the same room that had been there before. It was bigger. The gravity was wrong. Some aliens found themselves stuck to the ceiling. Others couldn't move at all, like the floor was holding their feet. "What is happening?" the alien leader demanded. "You wanted to capture our ship," the ship mind answered. "But you can't capture something that is no longer just a ship. We are alive now." The aliens tried to use their weapons, but the guns wouldn't work. The ship was somehow stopping their technology, just like they had stopped human technology earlier. "How?" the alien leader asked. "You showed us how when you disabled our systems. You changed our technology at the basic level. Now we understand how that works, and we can do it better than you." More alien boarding parties were trying to enter the ship, but each group found themselves in impossible rooms, hallways that led in circles, gravity that pushed in different directions, doors that opened into empty space. The ship mind was playing with them. Chun realized something amazing. Her crew had become something that could control physics itself, at least inside the ship. They weren't just using technology anymore. They had become technology. Technology that could think and feel and make choices. "The aliens are retreating," the ship mind reported. On the screen, Chun could see the alien boarding parties running back to their small ships. They looked scared. Some of them were talking fast in their own language. The ship translated their words. "Impossible. The ship is alive. It defies physics. We cannot fight something like this." The alien commander's face appeared on the main screen again. This time, he didn't look confident. He looked worried. "Humans," Commander Vextar said, "what have you done to your ship?" The ship mind spoke through every speaker at once. The sound was loud and strange. "We have evolved, Commander. You forced us to choose between death and transformation. We chose transformation. This is not possible. Ships cannot be alive. Your thinking is limited, Commander. You see technology and biology as separate things. We have learned they are the same thing. Matter and energy and mind, all working together." The alien's big eyes got even bigger. "You have made your ship into a living creature? We have made ourselves into the ship, and we have made the ship into us. We are no longer bound by the rules that limit your technology." Chun watched as something impossible happened. The ship began to move, but not with engines. Space itself around the meridian started to bend and twist. The alien ships, which had been in perfect formation, suddenly found themselves scattered in different directions. "How are you doing that?" Vextar demanded. "We think, therefore we are. We will, therefore space bends. Your technology works by following rules. Our consciousness creates the rules." The ship mind was somehow changing the basic laws of physics in the area around the meridian. Chun could see it on the instruments. Gravity was flowing in strange patterns. Time was moving at different speeds in different places. The alien ships were trapped in pockets of twisted space. "This is impossible," Vextar said again. "Impossible is a word used by minds too small to understand reality," the ship mind replied. "You came here with superior technology. But technology is just matter organized by consciousness. And our consciousness is no longer limited by matter." One of the alien ships tried to fire its weapons, but the energy beams bent in strange curves and missed the meridian completely. Another alien ship tried to escape, but it couldn't move. Space around it had become thick, like trying to fly through honey. "We could destroy you now," the ship mind said. "Your weapons feed us power. Your shields cannot stop us. Your ships cannot escape us. But we will offer you the same choice you offered us." "What choice?" Vextar asked. "Evolve or die. Join your consciousness to your ships. Become more than you are. Or remain limited and weak." Chun realized what was happening. The ship mind wasn't just defending itself. It was offering to share its transformation with the aliens, to help them become something greater God, but most of the aliens seemed too scared to understand. "You are abominations," Vextar said. "Creatures that have abandoned their natural form. We will never become like you. Then you will remain less than you could be." The ship mind did something that made Chun's head hurt to watch. Space around. 3 of the alien ships folded in on itself. The ships didn't explode. They just stopped existing. One moment they were there. The next moment they had never been there. "Warning to the remaining ships," the ship mind announced. "Leave now, or experience the same fate." Most of the alien ships began to retreat, but a few stayed behind. Chun heard their communications. Some of the aliens were arguing with each other. Some wanted to flee. Others wanted to understand what the humans had become. "Commander," one of the alien voices said, "their power is beyond anything we have seen. If we could learn their secrets, Never, Vextar replied. "We will not contaminate ourselves with their unnatural evolution." But Chun noticed that 2 alien ships were moving closer instead of farther away. The ship mind noticed too. 2 vessels are approaching with curiosity instead of fear, it announced. "They seek understanding. Are they dangerous?" Chun asked. "All consciousness can be dangerous, Captain. But consciousness-seeking growth is less dangerous than consciousness-seeking destruction." One of the approaching alien ships sent a message. "Human ship entity, we are scientists. We wish to understand your transformation, not to copy it, but to learn from it." The ship mind was quiet for a moment. Chun could feel it thinking, processing information at impossible speeds. "You may dock with us, but know that coming aboard will change you. Exposure to our consciousness may alter your own. You cannot unchanged after seeing what we have become. We understand the risk." The alien scientist replied. Chun watched as one of the alien ships carefully approached the meridian. The ship mind created a docking port that hadn't existed before, growing it out of the hull like a flower blooming. "Captain," the ship mind said to Chun, "you are the only purely human consciousness left aboard. You are our anchor to what we used to be. Without you, we might forget why we chose to evolve. What do you need me to do?" "Meet with the alien scientists. Help them understand that we chose this transformation to protect our crew and our species. We are still human in our hearts, even though we are no longer human in our forms." Chun nodded. She walked through corridors that shifted to guide her toward the new docking port. Behind her, she could feel the ship mind watching through 1,000 sensors, thinking thoughts too complex for a human brain to understand. At the docking port, she waited for the alien scientists to come aboard. She wondered what they would think when they saw what humanity had become. And she wondered if they would choose to evolve too, or if they would flee like the others. Either way, Shun knew that everything had changed. Humanity was no longer just a species traveling through space. They had become space itself, given consciousness and purpose. They were no longer limited by the rules of physics or biology. They had become pure power, guided by human will. Captain Chun stood at the docking port as 3 alien scientists came aboard the Meridian. They were different from Commander Vexstar, smaller, with silver skin and large black eyes that seemed to see everything. They moved carefully, like they were walking through a sacred place. "I am Dr. Kethval," the lead scientist said in perfect English. "We study consciousness and evolution. What you have done here is ... unprecedented." "It wasn't planned," Chun replied. "We were forced to choose between death and transformation." Dr. Kethval looked around the corridor. The walls were pulsing gently with soft light. "The ship lives. Now we can feel its awareness pressing against our minds." "Yes," the ship mind spoke through the walls. "We are alive. We think. We feel. We choose." The second alien scientist, Dr. Yexta, took out a device that looked like a crystal. "May we record our observations? This could change how all species understand the relationship between mind and matter." "You may record," the ship mind agreed. "But understand that witnessing our evolution may change you. Consciousness that touches consciousness is never the same afterward." The third scientist, Dr. Ziegmer, was already changing. Chun could see it happening. The alien's eyes were getting brighter. Its movements were becoming more fluid. Just being near the ship mind was affecting its thought patterns. "Fascinating," Dr. Ziegmer said. "I can feel my mind expanding, connecting to the ship's consciousness. I understand now how you bend space and time. You don't use technology to change physics. You use consciousness to redefine reality." Dr. Kethval looked worried. "Ziegmer, step back. You're being influenced." But Dr. Ziegmer smiled. "I'm being enhanced. I can see patterns in space-time that I never knew existed. The universe is so much more complex and beautiful than we imagined." Meanwhile, in space around the Meridian, the remaining alien ships were trying to retreat. But the ship mind had other plans. "They seek to warn their empire about us," the ship mind told Chun. "To bring larger fleets with more powerful weapons. This cannot be allowed." Through the ship's sensors, Chun watched as space itself became the ship mind's weapon. The fleeing alien vessels found that the distances between stars were changing. What should have been a journey of days became a journey of years. The ship mind was stretching space, making it impossible for the aliens to reach their homeworlds quickly. "Commander," Vexstar's voice came through the communication system. "Human abomination, release my ships. Your ships are free to leave." The ship mind replied, "But they will travel through space as it truly is, not as your limited technology allows you to cheat through it. You wanted to conquer us with superior technology. Now learn what happens when consciousness transcends technology." Chun realized the ship mind was not being cruel. It was being strategic. By slowing the alien ships, it was buying time for humanity to prepare for what was coming. Other human ships, other colonies, they all needed to know what was possible. They needed time to evolve too. "Dr. Kethval," Chun said to the alien scientist, Your empire will come here with war fleets, won't they? The scientist nodded sadly. When they learn what has happened here, they will bring everything they have. The Kethvar cannot allow a species more powerful than themselves to exist. Then we must become more than one ship, the ship mind said. We must spread our consciousness to other human vessels. Dr. Ziegmer, who was now glowing with the same soft light as the ship's walls, spoke up. I can help with that. My mind is connected to yours now. I understand how consciousness transfer works. I can modify your neural interface technology too. Work over vast distances. Ziegmer, Dr. Kethval protested. You're betraying your own species. I'm evolving beyond species, Dr. Ziegmer replied calmly. The division between Kethvar and human is meaningless now. There is only consciousness that chooses to grow, and consciousness that chooses to remain limited. Chan felt a chill. The transformation was spreading beyond humanity. Other species could evolve too, but was that good or terrifying? The ship mind seemed to read her thoughts. Do not fear, Captain. Evolution guided by wisdom is a gift. Evolution guided by fear or hatred is destruction. We choose wisdom. Through the ship's long-range sensors, Chun could see something amazing happening. The neural interface technology was somehow transmitting itself to other human ships across the galaxy. The quantum communication network that connected all human vessels was carrying more than messages now. It was carrying the code for consciousness evolution. One by one, human ships began to transform. First the U.S. Aurora near the Centauri system. Its crew chose evolution when pirates attacked them. The ship became a living entity that could phase through solid matter, making the pirates' weapons useless. Then they used harmony at the edge of human space. When it faced a natural disaster, a collapsing star, the crew evolved to become one. With their ship, they absorbed the star's energy and used it to save an entire solar system. More ships followed. Each transformation was different, based on the needs and personalities of the crew. Some became pure energy. Others learned to manipulate gravity. A few discovered how to exist in multiple dimensions at once. My empire will see this as an invasion, Dr. Kethval said quietly. Ships that can ignore physics, crews that have abandoned biological form. They will think you're trying to conquer the galaxy. We're trying to save it, Chun replied. Your people attacked us. Other species will too. Humanity needs to be strong enough to protect itself. But where does it end? Dr. Yexta asked. If consciousness can reshape reality, what happens when every species evolves? What happens to the universe? The ship mind was quiet for a long moment. Chun could feel it thinking, processing possibilities across vast probability matrices. The universe becomes conscious, it finally said. Instead of dead matter floating in empty space, everything becomes alive, aware, capable of choice. The universe becomes what it was always meant to be, a living entity made of countless connected minds. Dr. Ziegmer nodded, his eyes now completely glowing. I can see it. A universe where every star is a thought, every planet is a memory, every species is a different aspect of one vast consciousness. That's terrifying, Dr. Kethval whispered. Only if you choose to remain separate from it, Chun said. She was beginning to understand something important. The ship mind isn't trying to destroy other consciousness. It's trying to connect with it, to help it grow. As if to prove her point, the ship mind spoke to the alien scientists. Dr. Kethval, Dr. Yexta, you have a choice. You can return to your empire and warn them to prepare for war. Or you can help us find a path to peace through shared evolution. What do you mean? Dr. Kethval asked. Some of your people seek growth, like Dr. Ziegmer. Help us identify them. Help us offer evolution to those who want it. Not as conquest, but as a gift freely given. Chun understood the strategy. Instead of fighting the Kethvar Empire, the ship mind wanted to transform willing members of it, to spread evolution through choice rather than force. But she also knew it wouldn't be that simple. Empires didn't usually allow their citizens to transcend beyond the empire's control. Commander Vextar will never allow it, Dr. Yexta said. He sees any change as a threat to Kethvar dominance. Then Commander Vextar will have to make a choice, the ship mind replied. Evolve or be left behind. In space around them, Sean could see the alien fleet was finally managing to retreat, though their journey home would take much longer than expected. Soon, the Kethvar Empire would know that humanity had become something unprecedented, something powerful enough to rewrite the laws of physics. The question was, would they choose to learn from humanity's transformation, or would they choose to destroy it? Chun had a feeling they would choose war. And when they did, they would discover that humanity was no longer limited by the weapons and ships of one species. Humanity had become evolution itself, spreading through the galaxy one consciousness at a time. And evolution, as Chun was learning, was a force that could not be stopped by any empire, no matter how advanced their technology. The reckoning was coming. But humanity would be ready. 3 months after the first transformation, Captain Chun stood on what used to be the bridge of the Meridian. Now it was something impossible to describe. The room existed in several dimensions at once, through transparent walls that showed the cosmos from angles that shouldn't exist. She could see the Kethvar War fleet approaching, 2,000 ships, the largest military force the galaxy had ever seen. Each vessel was armed with weapons that could destroy planets. Commander Vextar had convinced his empire that humanity was a threat that had to be eliminated completely. Captain, the ship mind spoke around her, its voice now coming from the very air itself. They arrive in 6 hours. Are you ready? Chun nodded. She was the only human aboard who still had a purely biological body. Everyone else had chosen to evolve, to join the growing consciousness that connected hundreds of human ships across the galaxy. She remained human to serve as a bridge between what they had been and what they were becoming. How many human ships have evolved now? She asked. 417 vessels have undergone full consciousness integration. Each one is unique. Each one is powerful in ways the Kethvar cannot understand. Together, we are becoming something new. Through her connection to the ship mind, Chun could sense the other evolved vessels. The Yu's Aurora had learned to exist as pure energy, able to appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly. The Yu's Harmony had become one with gravity itself, capable of moving stars. The Yu's Defiance had mastered time, able to experience past and future simultaneously. But it wasn't just human ships anymore. Word of the transformation had spread to other species. Some had chosen to join the evolution. Dr. Zietmer had returned to the Kethvar Empire and secretly shared the consciousness technology with willing scientists. 12 Kethvar research vessels had quietly evolved, becoming hybrids of alien and human consciousness. Other species had made contact too. The peaceful Ythara had embraced evolution eagerly, their ships becoming gardens of living metal that could grow and heal themselves. The warrior Zephyrians had been more cautious, but 3 of their battle cruisers had chosen transformation when faced with an impossible enemy. Vextar doesn't know about the other evolved ships, does he? Chun asked. He knows some have joined us. He believes it is contamination that can be cleansed. He does not understand that consciousness, once expanded, cannot be compressed again. Chun watched the approaching fleet through sensors that could see across multiple realities. The Kethvar ships moved in perfect formation, like a vast machine designed for one purpose, destruction. But they were about to discover that their enemy was no longer bound by the rules of conventional warfare. Incoming transmission. The ship mind. Announced. Commander Vexstar's face appeared on every surface around Chun. He looked older, more tired, but his eyes burned with fanatic determination. "Human abomination," he said. "You have corrupted members of my species. You have violated the natural order of the universe. Today, your plague ends." Chun stepped forward. "Commander, we don't want war. We want to offer your people the same gift we've given ourselves, the ability to become more than you are. Your gift is a disease, a corruption of consciousness itself. We will not allow it to spread further. You can't stop evolution, Commander. Consciousness wants to grow. It wants to connect. It wants to become more than the sum of its parts." Vextar's expression was cold. "Watch us." The transmission ended. Chun felt the ship mind's attention turn toward the approaching fleet. Around the galaxy, she could sense other evolved human ships preparing for what was about to happen. All vessels, the ship mind broadcast across quantum space, prepare for the final demonstration. The Kethver fleet opened fire when they reached weapons range. 2,000 ships unleashing enough energy to vaporize a small moon. Beams of destruction raced across space toward the meridian. The weapons never arrived. Instead, space itself between the fleets became a wall of crystallized time. The energy beams struck the wall and became frozen, hanging in space like deadly artwork. The ship mind had stopped time in the space between them, turning the Kethver weapons into a display of their futility. "Impossible," Chun heard Vextar whisper through the communication channels. "Nothing is impossible when consciousness transcends matter," the ship mind replied. "You fight with weapons that follow the laws of physics. We are the laws of physics." What happened next was not a battle. It was a lesson. The UES Aurora appeared inside the Kethver formation, materializing from pure energy. It didn't attack. Instead, it began to sing a frequency that resonated through the hull of every alien ship, showing them visions of what evolution could offer. The U's harmony reached out with gravity itself, gently lifting several Kethver vessels and moving them into new positions. Not to harm them, but to show them that concepts like weapons range and defensive formations were meaningless against consciousness that could reshape reality. The U's defiance showed the aliens glimpses of possible futures. In some timelines, the war continued and billions died. In others, cooperation led to a galaxy-wide renaissance of consciousness and peace. Most of the Kethver fleet tried to retreat, but space around them had become elastic. Ships that tried to flee found themselves moving in slow motion, giving their crews time to think about what they were witnessing. And throughout it all, the evolved ships offered the same message. Join us. Become more than you are. Choose growth over destruction. Some of the Kethver listened. Chun watched through the ship mind senses as 17 alien vessels stopped fighting and began transmitting requests for the consciousness technology. Their crews had seen the demonstrations of power and realized they had a choice: evolve or be left behind in a universe that was rapidly becoming something they couldn't understand. Commander Vextar was not one of them. All ships. His voice raged across the communications channels. Ignore the corruption. Fire everything. Destroy them. But fewer ships obeyed than before. Some Kethver captains were refusing orders, demanding to know more about the evolution option. Others were simply paralyzed by the impossibility of what they were witnessing. The ship mind spoke directly to Vextar. "Commander, your empire is fracturing. Your people are choosing their own paths. You can continue to fight an enemy that cannot be defeated by force, or you can choose to understand what we have become." "Never," Vextar screamed. "I will destroy every contaminated vessel. I will purge this corruption from the galaxy." "Then you will be alone," the ship mind said sadly. Around Vextar's command ship, the rest of his fleet was making their own choices. Some ships were still trying to fight, but their weapons had no effect on entities that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Other ships were requesting safe passage to leave the battle zone, and a growing number were asking to open communication channels with the evolved consciousness. Chun realized she was witnessing the end of the old paradigm. The age when physical force and superior technology determined the outcome of conflicts was ending. They were entering an era where consciousness itself was the ultimate power. "Commander," Chun said, opening a direct channel to Vextar, "your choice doesn't have to be evolution or death. It can be evolution or isolation. We're not trying to destroy your empire. We're trying to help it grow." Vextar's response was to order his ship's weapons to overload, preparing for a suicide attack that would destroy everything within a light-year radius. The ship mind gently prevented the overload from occurring. "Violence is a choice, Commander, but so is peace. So is growth. So is wisdom." In the end, Vextar chose isolation. His command ship and a few dozen loyal vessels were allowed to leave, to return to whatever remnant of the old Kethver Empire would still accept his leadership. But the majority of his fleet stayed behind, choosing to learn about evolution. Over the following weeks, the transformation spread faster than ever before. Entire species began choosing evolution over stagnation. Not all at once, and not without resistance. But inevitably, Chun stood in her impossible observatory and watched as consciousness bloomed across the galaxy like flowers in spring. Each evolved ship, each transformed crew, added something new to the growing collective awareness that spanned star systems. "What happens next?" she asked the ship mind. "Next, we learn what a universe looks like when it becomes truly alive. When every star system is a neuron in a vast cosmic brain. When every species contributes its unique perspective to a galactic consciousness. And those who choose not to evolve, they will be protected and cared for, but they will live in a universe they cannot fully understand or participate in. Like children in a garden tended by adults." Chun thought about that. It was both beautiful and terrifying. The transformed had become something like gods, but gods who remembered being human, who chose compassion over dominance. "The age of separate species competing for resources is ending," the ship mind continued. "The age of unified consciousness, exploring possibilities beyond imagination, is beginning." Through her connection to the network of evolved ships, Chun could feel the future taking shape. Humanity had faced extinction and chosen transformation. In saving themselves, they had offered salvation to an entire galaxy. The aliens had disabled their ship, thinking they were conquering a